everyone. How are you? Welcome to our Healed podcast. And I'm so excited to be here today with Sarah Harnish. And thank you, Sarah, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful.
Sarah is so inspirational. She is one of the very top rankers in Young Living essential oils. And she's the author of several books, including, and you can tell I'm a fan, Game Plan, which I've read more than once, and the Game Plan Workbook. She also has written Unstuck, Ignite, and she has now a little Fearless book that is amazing for what's packaged in this little, lot of information in this little book. It's so good. So she's also a mom of 6 and has 3 grandbabies, 1 on the way, and is from New York and just moved to South Carolina. So welcome, Sarah. Thank you for being here. I can't wait for you to share your story. It's going to be so inspirational and give hope to so many people. So truly, thank you. So let's start out with just a little background information with your health history, like what your health was like as a child growing up.
Sure. Yeah. As a child, I had chronic ear infections. They thought that they were gonna have to put tubes in my ears because I had so many of them. I was on so many antibiotics, and I was your typical teenager. So I loved pop and I loved processed food. And I grew up in the home of an alcoholic. So my mom was basically a single mom raising the 4 of us. And then I met my husband at 16 and we got engaged 3 weeks after we met. And actually this week is our 22nd wedding anniversary. So we've been
happy anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like coming up in just a couple days. And so, when you're 16 years old, you're not making the best food choices. And we got married when I was 19, and 3 months after we got married, I found out I was pregnant with my firstborn son. And then we had children every 2 years for 10 years. I was pregnant. I'm pregnant and nursing from like basically 20 to 30. And we love our kids. We call them the Harnish herd. They're just amazing. We got 4 sons and a daughter, and my oldest is married. That's how we have 6. So he's married to his beautiful wife, and they have children. But my health got progressively worse. And, by the time that I was in my 20s, I had migraine headaches when I was in high school and even in junior high. They started when I was 12 years old. But by the time that I was in my 20s and I was having kids, they were 10 days a month, every single month. And they were on a bell curve. And I never connected my headaches and how I felt and my joint pain and my back aching and all the things, the fatigue, the just unbelievable fatigue and needing to sleep all the time. I didn't connect that with how I was eating. And I figured, I can have 3 64-ounce Mountain Dews every day, and I can go eat processed pizza and processed TV dinners and all the things. I mean, we had a budget of $50 a week for our family for food. So it was bottom of the barrel, cheapest you could get, everything out of a box or can. And I can count on 10 fingers the number of times I had fresh produce growing up as a kid. My mom was not a cook. So everything was out of cans. Everything was out of boxes. It was all processed food my entire childhood. I mean, literally no nutrients at all.
So it sounds like this was really compromising your life.
Yeah. So when I was in my 20s, the migraines got very, very bad. And so they would be on a bell curve with my cycle. And that was the most obnoxious symptom I had, but I had a lot of other things going on as well, health-wise. You can't put garbage into your body and then expect your cells to put out energy and to put out, do the things that they need to do, because it's literally, they're made up out of what you're eating. And so by the time I was 30 years old, they were happening every single month. And I had been to 13 different neurologists. I've been on 16 families of migraine medicine and traveled different states to get care. They finally sent me to a headache clinic, and I was there doing testing over 6 weeks. And the clinic that I went to is phenomenal, but they lined up all this medicine and said, all right, here's what's going on. You are at a very, very dangerous risk for catastrophic stroke. it's actually already happening right now. Your face is drooping. He goes, I just stuck a needle in your right cheek and down your right side of your body. You had no feeling. You didn't jump off the table at all. Your whole right side is numb. And he said, it's already happening with the inflammation on your brain right now. He goes, the big one is coming. The big one is going to hit, and it's going to leave you a vegetable, and you're not going to be able to see your kids grow up. So this is what I would recommend. So they started doing these yearly MRIs. And for 6 years, I had an MRI every single year. And what they were finding was when I would get these migraines, my blood vessels would swell and they would press against my skull and then cause these little tiny pinprick brain bleeds. And so every year I go in for another MRI, and I have about 40 or 50 new spots of dead tissue on the surface of my brain. And so the neurologist sat down to me and he said, Sarah, you're already having brain bleeds. Like it's already there. He goes, if you have a migraine and your face droops and you have weakness on your right side, you're dropping things, and you can't feel anything on your right side, and the pain is there, and the migraine goes away and the feeling doesn't come back, you've had a stroke, and you need to get into the hospital as fast as you can for us to be able to try to reverse the damage of the stroke. So for years, I wondered every month if that month was going to be the month. Like, was that going to be the big month where I lost everything? And my kids were zero, 2, 4, 6, 8.
That's
when
so
this was going on.
scary.
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So finally, the last guy that I went to, he put me on all this medication. And the very first one that he gave me was a steroid. And I was born with a bad heart. So I have one of my large valves in my heart backflows. Thankfully the tricuspid, not the mitral. So it's not the heart attack side, but it's one of my big valves, has a big leak on it. And I was born with that. My mom and my grandfather have it. And then I have a level 5 heart murmur, which there's only 6 levels of heart murmur. So that's a pretty significant heart murmur, heart palpitations. And so I'm looking at this medicine, and it had 4 pages of warnings, and 2 of the pages were causing heart damage. And it was all this heart related damage. So I went back to him and I said, listen, I kind of feel like I'm having to choose between a heart attack or a stroke. I'm not anti-medicine. I'm not anti-pharmaceutical. I think it serves a really, really valuable purpose. And there are lives getting saved every second that we speak because of the medical community. However, I don't really think that having a heart attack is my best choice. Like there's got to be another way of doing this. You're telling me I'm either going to blow out my brain or blow out my heart. I'm 30 years old. I don't want to lose either of those things. So, is there any other way? And he said, there's no other way. Like, this is it. He goes, and if it was me, I would choose the heart attack because you're gone. He said, if you have a stroke, you're going to watch your kids grow up and you'll never be able to communicate with them. And that to me is not the best choice. And I remember looking at him saying, who are you to make that decision for me? Like, I'm not really okay. And so I walked out of his office, and that was where the split in clean living really first started happening for me, because up until then, I took everything at face value. And here's the thing. There's 2 kinds of people in the world. There's the kind that take everything at face value, which I've done for 30 years. And there's the kind that question, the kind that walk in, and where you're at in that questioning process is different for each person. So you might be going to have a McDonald's 5 days a week, but maybe you're making really, really good choices in other parts of your life. And that's still, it still steps in the right direction. I was not in that place. Like, if it was on a store shelf, it was safe. It was FDA approved. If a doctor told me to do it, then it was 100% the right decision, and I needed to follow all advice. And for the very first time in my life, I came home and I'm like, I don't have a peace. I just don't have a peace that damaging a heart that's already damaged is the best decision that I can make for my family. So I fasted for about 40 days, and John and I prayed over it. And I'm a news anchor by background, by trade. I'm a Young Living Diamond also, and an author and speaker, but I have anchored news for 23 years in Chicago and New York. And so I'm trained to research. So I started researching. I started using that background that the Lord had given me to really dig up some dirt on my health. And I stumbled on a neurologist out of Russia who had written a protocol called the GAPS diet, which was designed to heal the gut lining. And her premise was, if you heal the gut, you heal the head. And I said, well, that's something I haven't tried yet. There it is. I'm on it actually right now. I haven't been on it in 8 years, but I just went back on it. And so I was like, all right, well, this is something I haven't tried. And so I went from Pop-Tarts, frozen pizza, drinking 3 64-ounce pops a day, to literally making bone broth from bone marrow and culturing kefir and making fermented foods and
talk about a 180.
Yeah, trying beet kvass, right? Like on liver pate, right? Like using organ meats. I'm like, if anybody doesn't know what they're doing, like I literally don't know what, I mean, I have a 30-year background of boxed food. So not only do I not know how to make a pancake unless it comes from a mix that you add water to, like I didn't even know how to make stuff. So to say it's 180 degrees is a gross understatement. Like I had to relearn everything that I knew about food. And I remember my husband telling me, he's like, Sarah, you're going to have a slice of lemon and you're going to heal your migraines. Like you're going to do this all homeopathically. And I said, honey, I don't have any other choice. It's this or I die. Like those are my choices. The big stroke is coming. I already have bleeding on my brain. I have for 6 years now. There's something has to change or I am not going to see my kids grow up. And whatever I have to do, I'm going to do it. And so the first month that I was on the diet, if you're considering GAPS, I just want to tell you it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go on this, South Beach diet and cut these 8 foods. Like it is a complete rethinking of how you look at food. Yeah, it's extremely strict. But I personally know over 4,600 people that have been cured of migraines, 100%, 10 years or more, gone because of doing these diet changes. So I did it hardcore. I was on broth for 30 days in stage 1. And then I went through and skin tested in all the stages and was on full GAPS for 2 years, a little more than that, about 3 years. And I had so many allergies. It was ridiculous. We cured over 80 things in our family. My husband's eczema, he had for 20 years, the scaly skin on his elbows and his ears has been gone now for 8 years since he did it. My son, who's dyslexic, could not read to save his life. We had worked with him for 5 years, picked up a 120-page book and read it on the GAPS diet because it heals neurological problems and digestive issues. So food allergies, that kind of stuff. So I went on the diet, and the first month I was on it, I still had the drooping and the weakness on the right side of my face, but I didn't have any pain. And, Robin, I had not gone 30 days with no pain in 24 years.
It's amazing how fast the body really will heal. It's amazing.
Yeah. And then the second month that I was on it, I had no drooping of my face in the right side. I didn't have weakness. Before, if I picked up a book and I was holding it with my right and left hand, it would drop on the floor. I had to hold it just on my left side. When I had these migraines, I just didn't have the strength on my right side to lift things like that. And it was completely gone. Within 2 months, all of my migraines were healed. And January 18th marked 8 years since I've had a migraine headache.
Wow.
Yeah, completely. So now I wrote these books. They went to #1 on Amazon. So Jen and I and our family have just been so blessed. And I've been flying all over the world. We were in 55 cities last year, just speaking all around the world, in Australia and Mexico. And I got off the plane and I noticed I started swelling. And so for the last 2 years, I've had major problems with inflammation. And I talked to John. I said, well, the migraines aren't there, but I wonder if I've got my gut balance is off again and I just need to go back on GAPS. So 10 days ago, I went on GAPS again. I've lost 19 pounds in inflammation.
Wow.
Already in 10 days, which is pretty crazy. Normally it's not quite that fast, but I'm doing again to just, sometimes your body just needs that reset. Yeah. And it's been 8.5 years since I've been on it. So it's really weird. I'm in stage 1 right now. So my whole family just had this huge Mexican dinner with all these beans, and I cooked it. I made homemade guac and salsa, and it was awesome. I'm sitting here eating bone broth. I'm like, this is wrong. Like, this is just wrong.
But I have to say, in response to that, I know one of your stories where you talk about your Moses prayer, and I'll post somewhere in the comments or something where you can get to that if you want to know more about that, if you're listening. But I know that story was so inspirational, like it changed my mindset. And I think if you are having migraines and a stroke risk, a heart attack risk, and all this fatigue, you would not be doing what you're doing today. Yeah. We would not be getting the gift of your story and your inspiration and your faith had you not taken your health into your own hands.
Yeah, there's every single time you're embarking on some kind of a wellness journey, and there's so many. I mean, the Lord has just blessed so many people with wisdom and knowledge and science, and root cause protocol is another one of my favorite ones that a lot of people are doing, and they have great results. Every time you're in that fork in the road, you got to ask yourself, what quality of life do I want? You know, I get this a lot when I'm in health conversations, and my mom will say, oh, well, everything's going to kill me, so it just doesn't matter. And I said, well, you know, just because you have the choice to make the wrong decision does not mean it's the best decision for you or the best decision for your family. And you got to draw that line in the sand and say, listen, I am the gatekeeper of my home. I am the only one that can protect the four walls of my home. And I remember having that aha moment when I'm sitting there and I'm eating, this was probably 2 years into GAPS. I'm eating all this amazing food. My gut lining is healed. We've had over 80 things in our family healed, from thyroids to just all sorts of stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm eating all this great food. And I look up and I see my dish soap on the counter and it's blue. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, there's a disparity in what I'm eating and the things I'm cleaning with. And there's a disparity in the shampoo that my kids are using. And there's a disparity in the things that I'm using for the body. You know, I don't like the creams. I don't like the sunscreens. I don't like, you know, any of the products, the bug repellents. Like in any other environment, knowing what I know about how to heal the body, this is the opposite of what the body needs when you look at the ingredients list. And so it just developed this discerning eye in me. When you're on GAPS, it's already just an unbelievably difficult diet to do. When you're on GAPS, you get really good at label reading. And so I started reading some of the other things in my home. And that was what led me to essential oils. So my migraines were healed before I got my starter kit and got into Young Living. But I realized I'm not doing a good job as the gatekeeper, you know, drawing that line and saying, no, my teenagers cannot go buy Axe shampoo. Like, I'm not okay with that. No, you cannot go use the blue deodorant because you love the musk smell. Like, it's not all right. We have, 300 oils. Pick an oil you like, drop it on the deodorant, and that's the one that we're going to use. You want Shutran, we'll make it. We'll make Shutran deodorant. So, just having those conversations with the kids. And so I started GAPS. This is only the second time in my life that I've done it. And I started it 10 days ago. And my daughter and her boyfriend came into the room and said, what are you doing, Mom? And I said, I just feel like I need some healing in my gut. I've been traveling a lot. I've been exposed to a lot of things, and I need to we're in quarantine. This is a really good time for me to just really hit it with 2 fists and give it my best. And she said, I'd like to do it too. I think I want to do GAPS also. I go, you remember what we had to eat, like right? You're okay. She's like, yeah, like I'd like to do it too. Then her boyfriend came in, who also comes from the same background that I had, with the processed food and all that. He came in and he said, I think I'm going to do it too. So they sat there with that Mexican fiesta going on and were eating soup, right in front of me. And they did it of their own volition. They're 18, they're 18 years old. They didn't have to make that choice. But when you plant those seeds in your kids, they will step back and they look at the world and say, you know what, just because it's on that shelf doesn't mean it's safe. Just because I got an approval doesn't mean it has ingredients that I should be putting in my body. Every single thing you breathe in, you smell, you rub into your skin, you consume has a consequence. Everything.
It's either good, it's going to increase your life or decrease it.
Yeah. It's back to my mom when she's saying, well, everything's going to kill me. And I said, Mom, you have to decide the quality of life that you want, because, you might still live to 80 years old, but the last 20 years, you've got awful joint pain and you don't know why, and your back hurts and you can't get out of bed in the morning and you have headaches and, you're craving sugar and you've got a candida overgrowth and you're just miserable. Or you can have a really good quality of life because you're healing the body in the way that God designed it to heal, and you're giving it that grace space and not poisoning it. I mean, the average woman is putting 300 chemicals a day in her body, and 80 of them are before breakfast. But just think about that. If you were standing there and somebody threw 80 things at your face before breakfast, and what your liver has to do to process all of that before it can do the healing on your body, it's going to deal with the most pressing thing first. So we just don't give our bodies a leg up. So as I've gotten involved with Young Living, and we're running for Crown right now, I think we've got a chance of hitting it in June. I'm so excited. But it's because of that passion that comes from being on death's door. You get this passion. People ask me all the time, well, Sarah, how do you build a business in Young Living? I go, you listen to people. You listen to them because you don't want them having migraines. You don't want them being in pain. You don't want them having problems with their joints or having chronic fatigue. But that comes from the things they're allowing in their home. Only 5% of that stuff is genetics. 95% of it, 95%. I've got a bad heart, but I've got great quality of life. I'm still running 5 to 7 miles a day. It's not stopping me. It doesn't stop me because I know what to fuel my body with, and so it starts with making those decisions. And if you're at that place where you're overwhelmed And you're like, Sarah, like GAPS, are you kidding? Liver pate? Like, are you kidding me? That's disgusting. Like, all right, I don't even like liver pate. All right. But you just, you get to a place where you don't have any other choice left, right? For me, it was literally life and death. But
you get desperate.
You do. You're raising people that need the hope that the Lord has put in your heart. Like you have a conviction just by being on Robin's channel and watching her podcast. And because you're in the space where you're consuming these nuggets on how to take care of your body, you already have that conviction and stirring of spirit that the Lord has put in front of you. Read the label, read it, read it in your pasta sauce. Do you need that much sugar? You know, read it in your bug repellent, read it. And you might look at Young Living stuff and say, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. Like I really want to spend $20 on laundry detergent. But you know what? What is the health? First off, it's concentrated. So you're really like spending 10, and I almost spend 10 on All and Tide and all the other stuff that's out there, you know, but you got to look at the health consequences of putting that ingredients list into your cells. And you got to look at the generational impact of your children seeing you in the kitchen, making those nourishing meals for their bodies, you know, getting the dryer balls, skipping the dryer sheets, you know, making those little daily decisions. And it's not something that happens fast. I mean, for John and I, it's been a multi-year journey, but I'm at the point now where I can say, I can feel immediately if my body's off. Like I can feel my gut being different. I can feel candida in my system. I can feel my husband just had a really bad flu. Nobody in the house got it. Nobody, because we increased supplements, you know, I'm nourishing their body. The minute he came down with a fever, I cut all sugar in the house. I said, teenager, sorry, we're not doing it. I'm not making desserts. We're not doing anything. We're increasing vitamin C. Like we're going to make these choices. I want everybody, we're going to do little mini raindrops on you guys every night. Just anything that we can do to just give your immune system that little extra edge, so that if you come into contact with him, you don't have it. And he went through the whole house. He touched all the door handles and everything when he was contagious, and no one, we're talking 10 people in this house didn't get it except for him. So he's our quarantine grocery store guy. So he volunteered his tribute. We send him out to the stores, you know, but he picked something up in the store, you know, and that's the thing, like you're still going to get sick, but do you want the sickness to be this, or do you want it to be this? Right. And if you're doing things that put your immune system in that place where it can fight things off, and you're in tune with your body, and you're nourishing your cells, and you're making that discerning decision to read the ingredients of everything that crosses over the threshold of your door, then you have made a shift that will leave an imprint on your children. It'll leave an imprint on your grandchildren. You know, it's going to leave a legacy. My son does not eat the way that we eat. He was almost an adult by the time that we went on GAPS. And so he makes the decisions he chooses to make. But we just had his daughter for a week and a half, and we're getting her to eat all sorts of things. I mean, she's getting like 6 vegetables a meal, and like we're sneaking all sorts of things in her foods and stuff. I'm like, I had kids. I know how to sneak the vegetables past them if I need to, right? But we sent her home, and they told us that she's laying on the floor. She's grabbing her tummy. She says her tummy hurts. I said, what'd you give her? They said mac and cheese. I'm like, okay, but she didn't have a tummy ache the 10 days she was here, you know?
And
so
you know, I think so much about raising my daughter and the way that we ate. She wanted chicken and macaroni every single meal. Not that I did that, but you really set those taste buds when they're little. So it's so important to set that for something good.
Yeah, I want to offer hope too, because my kids did GAPS when they were teenagers. So, I mean, my baby was like 8 when we were like on full GAPS, but my oldest son was 13, 14 years old when we were doing GAPS. And they still, you know, they will still, like Gabe will walk in and he'll look at everything, and he'll eat our food. And the certain GAPS meals he loves, and he's like, you're making cheesy chicken casserole with no dairy? I'm coming, like right now, like I'm coming out there. I just snuck celeriac in our breakfast hash the other day, and the kids, they didn't know there were 6 vegetables in their breakfast. Like I just got it all in that hash with the sausage and bacon and good animal fats. And you know, you got to look at the things that nourish your body versus the things that don't nourish your body. As a mom, step back and say, how many colors of the rainbow am I getting in the meal? You know, how many good fats do I have? Your body needs a 1/4 cup of fat every single day for your brain to work correctly. And not fat like trans fats, not fat, you know, I'm talking good fats. Yeah. So, you know, coconut oil, you don't want to cook with any oils that are liquid at room temperature, because it hydrogenizes them, and that causes cancer in the human body. So using lard, tallow, butter, coconut oil, you know, oils that are solid, making sure you're getting eggs in your diet, egg yolks in your diet, lots of animal meats, all different types of animal meats, broths, slow simmering them, you know, lots of vegetables, and just stepping back and saying, is my plate, it's not, it goes beyond the, I'm going to make a piece of chicken and fill half my plate with green beans kind of thing. Like, I mean, you got to completely rethink food. And, you know, and how you're nourishing the kids. Say, well, I only have pasta 2 or 3 times a week. And, you know, we only do this once or twice a week. You got to look at what nourishes the body and what, you know, what hurts the body. And, and nutritionally, I'm looking at the nutritional content of every meal that I bring into this house. How many vegetables can I get into it? How many meats can I get into it? You know, how much fat am I cooking with to help their bodies digest the things that we're giving their bodies? Do we have a fermented food at the meal? And you might think you can't teach a teenager to love fermented foods, but oh my word, all of our condiments are fermented. Our ketchup, our mayonnaise, our sour cream, yogurt, you can add a little honey to it, and we stay away from the stuff at the store. You know, we got to a point where 80 to 90% of our groceries are coming from farmers, and I was growing the rest of it on my counters, or, you know, making it from scratch. And, you know, they tell you to shop around the perimeter of the grocery store. I tell you, avoid the grocery store. Like, if you can.
Farmer's market.
Yeah, best choice you can do. Go to the farmer's market, learn your farmers in your area, find good grass-fed beef, find just a local source of honey, you know, find a good CSA, organic CSA that doesn't spray. If you've got a green thumb, get a couple things grown in a garden box. You know, go grab some heirloom seeds and start with one thing that you think you can grow. Try some carrots this year, something very, very simple. You grow it in your garden, or you get it from an organic CSA. The nutritional quality of that, not sitting in a box and going from bin to bin to bin and taking a month to get on the store shelf, is so much better. Fermented food stuff you can grow, you know, on your counters. Cultures for Health is one of my favorite sites that I just placed an order for all of our yogurt and water kefir. I make a killer ginger ale out of water kefir, you know, so you just, you learn. Exactly. And the kids, like, they crave it. You
it's know, just little switches.
It is. And it's
simple switches.
Yeah, like it's one step. And if you're feeling intimidated, you know, Robin held us up, and thank you for the plug. That really meant a lot, but she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to.
Oh, I think we lost Sarah for 1 second, but I know she's coming right back. So if you'll hold tight.
But Fearless.
There she is.
Sorry, there I am.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. Fearless is the story of my journey with food and chemicals and label reading. And so if you just need those little steps, like you just need, okay, I can tackle one thing, Sarah, like what's the one thing that I should start with first? I give you a list broken up into 10 weeks in Fearless on just starting to cut foods out of your diet. Like the first week, don't do any soy. There's a wonderful book by Dr. Kayla Daniels called The Whole Soy Story that will talk to you about what soy is, an anti-nutrient that is the #1 disruptor of hormones for men and women. So if you're having fertility issues, if you're having hormone issues, thyroid issues, fatigue issues, chronic fatigue issues, you know, and you're doing everything you can for your thyroid and your endocrine system, you can't figure it out. You know, the first place I go is food. I go to food and chemical exposure and start cutting some of those things out of my house. As many Young Living products as you can get into your home. And so I'm in it because every product you're using, we know it's held to seed to seal. So you're swapping your bar soap out, you're swapping your shampoo out, you're swapping your cleaner out underneath the sink for Thieves Cleaner. And so Fearless is going to take you through the diet side of it. It's going to take you through the journey of clean living and giving you that discerning eye and label reading, researching how to look up things that are very dangerous for the human body, ingredients you don't know what they are. And then it transitions into oils. I'm a clinical aromatherapist, so I'll do some really basic training with you on how to start introducing oils into your life in a way that is non-scary. And then we get you to a point where we do the simple swap at the end of the book, where you just take the 3 cabinet challenge and look through 3 cabinets in your home and grab stuff you've been using for 10 years or more and flip it over and look at it. Just look at the products, read those ingredients lists and draw that line in the sand around your house and say, listen, I'm sorry, Satan, but you don't have any control over my home anymore. You don't have control over my health, over my kids' health. I am not going to just turn a blind eye because it has a government approval. Like I'm not okay, because it's stunning when you go into other countries what they don't approve, but what is approved here.
A lot of things.
Amazing. So it's crazy how good I can eat in Europe. You know, it's no problem sourcing. One of the reasons I moved to South Carolina is because I can walk into a store and buy raw milk, and there's no problem with it at all. Like, you know, they don't have all these bans and restrictions and stuff on things, and we just have a little more freedom. And so, for me, that's something that's really, really important, is being able to source stuff. It's not always about cutting foods out. I'll take you through that list of 10 weeks and foods to cut out, but it's also about what you're putting in your body and are you nourishing it? So as a mama, step back and say, what did I give my kids today? And it goes beyond, like, we have the core 4 supplements we do with Young Living every single day. Everybody in my family gets them. And they're just the base, the base of our nutrition. And that is enzymes, because you cannot, pull out good things out of, you're absorbing maybe 7% of what you're eating. Enzymes take it up to over 90%. So you want an enzyme when you're taking your meals. It doesn't matter how healthy you are. Everybody needs enzymes in their gut. And I even rotate out the enzymes and do different ones because they do different things for the gut. The second thing is a good solid cod liver oil. So Omega Guys is our go-to for cod liver oil in the house. The third is probiotics are critical. You cannot live in a bubble where you're not exposed to stuff, and your gut flora is going to get off. And so it's really important that you're repopulating the gut with good bacteria. And that is where a good, healthy probiotic comes in. And, Life 9 is an amazing probiotic. And then Ningxia, antioxidants, amino acids. I drink a bottle of Ningxia a day.
Oh, wow.
I made it a goal as a diamond to drink a bottle of Ningxia a day. And I figured now that we're about to hit Crown, I should get 2 bottles a day, right? Or maybe I'm like a bottle a day. I limit them. They come in begging for Ningxia. And then the 2 supplements that I had right after those 2 is multigreens and master formula. But the 4, like, no matter what, we're always on them unless you're doing a fast or a cleanse. And then we take a break from all supplements, give our liver a little rest, and then we jump back in. But, you need to be cleansing your liver 4 times a year. I just say with the change of the seasons, do a gentle liver cleanse, like hop on and do the Young Living, the nutritive cleanse.
Like the 5-day cleanse.
Yep. That's a wonderful cleanse. Doing a gentle cleanse by just adding lemon vitality to your water for a month and drinking that and fasting through breakfast, and then starting with lunch and just giving your liver that little surge, it's awesome. So, those are just some things. Supplementation is really, really important. I have a whole class on supplementation and Ningxia on my website. So if you want to learn a little bit more, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. They're called the Core 4 classes. Sorry.
Your website is?
It's oilabilityteam.com. So oilabilityteam.com. And if you click on Unstuck, this is my new one, is the big thing that everybody tells me is I actually am interested in teaching people and training people about clean living and about Young Living, but I don't know how to get people in front of me. Like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not either. I'm a news anchor. I can write a newscast in my sleep, and I'm a mama till the cows come home. But sales is not something that I'm good at. But I love people. And if you love people, it's not hard to listen to them and to have that compassionate heart for where they are. And so that's what Unstuck trains on. And so maybe you said, well, I love Young Living and I love the products, but I can't afford them. Well, go get Unstuck and read it, because it'll help you at least build enough of a check that you have a check coming in that you can afford. Some of these products that you think are a little bit pricey, but you're paying for seed to seal. When it costs.
We put our thoughts, our minds of what's possible, and our health and everything in a little box. And God does not want that. He does not want us in a little box. So anything's possible with the Lord. And if you are interested in Young Living, it's possible. It's possible to get it just by sharing it with others. Just this podcast, just listening to stories of hope from other people opens up your mind. And the more you put good in, the more you'll get good out. So I'm so thankful for you being here with us, Sarah. I so appreciate it. And so you can find Sarah at oilabilityteam.com, and she's on Facebook. Are you on Instagram too?
I am. One of my leaders have an Instagram account for me, and I logged in and there were 17,000 people on my page. Well, I need to figure this out. So you don't see a lot of content because I'm learning it. I'm not very tech savvy. I'm in my kitchen fermenting sour cream. Okay?
Yes. So you can look Sarah up. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, be sure and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you being here with us, and follow up. You can follow us on all kinds of social media. So thank you very much. And we will see you soon with our next story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robin. And thank you to everybody who's listening. You control what's in the four walls of your home. So walk out the door with an attitude of, I've got this, and not that defeated spirit. That gives the enemy the win, and he doesn't have any hold over you. He doesn't have any hold over you. You got to keep that right here when you're protecting your family, because they're worth fighting for and you're worth fighting for. Robin, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sarah.